Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all waking up to a great morning and you're enjoying some nice, decent weather. This video I've wanted to touch base on for quite a while. I meant to get to this sooner, but I've just been so busy with a lot of things and I haven't really had much time to get around to it. But it's not really a video pertaining to like wrestling. It's just a video talking about something really important that I've wanted to discuss for quite some time. I've made mention that in the past, I'm not really as active on this platform anymore, and I've been focusing on some really important things. Most notably, I have been really spending the last 3.5 years just really doing things with my health, like hitting the weights and doing sit ups and push ups and trying to really benefit my health. And I have really come to be a different person since I began doing this. It's basically kind of a story of my recovery. Um, like many years ago, I used to be somebody that really just didn't believe I could really be as active as I wanted to be. It's kind of like a form of, I guess, procrastinating. Society is really guilty of that, and I was guilty of that quite a while too. Um, I had about 3 years ago looked at weights in a store and I got my first set of 20-pound dumbbells and I started to really do reps with them and I started to really do um, push ups and I started to do sit ups more and more. And I started from at home and I didn't go overboard right away because I wanted to kind of do this the right way when I started it. And I began to really look at videos of other channels. I began to get an idea of like reps and certain weights that I should start with to build up the muscle. And I started to really kind of explore like other exercises. There's actually like simulations of other channels where they use like a computer image and it shows the person like or the identical person or the fictional person, excuse me, working out and doing the right reps and the right exercises. And I learned more about certain reps and then stopping in between a minute between the reps and then continuing and then doing it every other day. And then over time, I began doing long walks, like 1 mile walks, all downhill and uphill. Um, I started using what's called a kettlebell weight of 50 pounds. And then I worked my way to a 40 set of dumbbells. And then I worked my way to a 50 set of dumbbells. And the barbell that I have also is 100 pounds. Um, and over time, I started to really kind of feel better physically. But I also began looking in the supplements. I started to really look at, well, let's be honest here, the supplement aisle in a retailer is generally regarded as the most boring aisle in the entire store. But then you go to it and you find yourself looking at like the meal shakes and you look at certain supplements like magnesium and you look at all the other ones. I learned more about what's called like whey protein isolate or whey protein concentrate. I learned about BCAAs. I've learned about fat burners. I've learned about pre-workout supplements. And I began to add that to working out and I started to really get more motivated despite you still have to exercise to make these things more efficient. And you can buy them from like Walmart and Target and you can order them online and stuff like that. And I started to watch other channels too in regarding to this stuff. And when you use these kind of supplements, you got to give it a chance over time. It doesn't happen overnight. Like people generally will start these things and they don't see results within a week. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to give up and I'm going to go back to my bad diet and stuff. And they don't really give it a chance. Um, I think I've learned from like certain companies that sell the supplements on the dosage of like a protein or anything like that where you can mix it in, such as like Optimum Nutrition and Huge Supplements and Insane Labs. And I ordered from like some other companies like Rise, and I think I've also bought in like some of the other brands that are currently in stores. And while they were all great in themselves, I kind of stick to a basic few now. Like I don't go overboard and order from every other company in existence because there's got to be roughly over 200 supplement companies, maybe more. I haven't exactly counted, but every day they spam like supplement offers from different companies all over my Facebook. If you tried our new advanced whey protein, you'll get those gains, stuff like that. I also learned about vitamins. I learned about all kinds of things. And I started doing this more and more like the last 2.5, almost 3 years. And I started to really feel very good. And I started to really look into other ones like Nootropics, which is a mental clarity supplement. And when I started taking that, I naturally thought this was going to be some supplement that a company pushes that really doesn't work because there are supplement companies out there that obviously will sell things but they're not really going to be effective. And it all depends on your genetics and your age and your mental history and your physical history. And about a weekend, I was ready to give up on this stuff. And then I was sitting outside, and out of nowhere, I felt like a rush of positive feeling hit my head, and all my brain fog went away. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I started smiling more, and I started to really kind of be a different person in terms of positivity. I started to really look into like more and more of them. And I'm like, holy crap, this stuff's amazing. And I started to look at stem-free ones and from the non-stem-free. To those who don't know, stem is really a form of saying caffeinated supplements, but the other one is non-caffeinated. And I started taking recently the non-caffeinated one, and I feel so clear-headed throughout the day to where I feel like a whole new guy. And I've been taking it like the last year. And I can tell you a thing that I've also been recovered from. It's a lifelong illness called impulsive control disorder. That is something that has been a part of me for a long time, and I don't have the symptoms anymore. And I stay on it as a protection to kind of keep a lot of the impulsiveness away from my head. And I also learned to kind of take my meals down to about 2 times a day. And then in between, I'll have like a piece of fruit, or I'll have a protein shake, and I'll do all these things to better benefit my health. But on vacations, like a few times a year, I will, occasionally have a pizza, or I'll just have something like on the side. But these supplements and working out has been my recovery, and it was the best thing ever. That's one of the reasons I have not been active on this platform on a full-time basis anymore. I think that's really a smart move that I did. I turned to a lot of health improvements, and I've actually felt better. I was doing the pre-workouts with like the caffeine in them, and I turned to a non-caffeinated one because the pre-workout caffeinated supplement, it was great at first, but it started to raise my anxiety through the roof, and I had to stop taking it. I tried ordering from different companies, but then over time, it's like the same result kept happening. And I'm like, what the hell? And I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm like agitated and stressed out. So I stopped taking it, and then the problem went away. So I start turning to a non-caffeinated one. And that's the one that I stick with, which is basically more natural, and it's more it's more of a thing where you don't feel amped up, and you don't feel like you're got the jitters or you're going to crash later. Like this is the better move to go with. Plus, I like going to sleep at night and not waking up agitated and stressed out. I am working my way also in the meantime up to a 60-pound set of dumbbells, and I'm also going to be upgrading my kettlebell weight from a 50 to a 100. And the 51, when I got it, I could barely lift it, and now I could manhandle that thing like it's nothing. And now when I'm going to work my way to a 100, and I'm going to do that. So that's been really the basic recovery of the last 3 years. It's just been weights, supplements, sit-ups, push-ups, walks, just staying active constantly. And as much as I like doing like videos from time to time, I feel like I had to get out there and I had to do some stuff away from the internet, and it was just the best decision I ever made. I mean, I might do a video now and then, but I mean, like, it's not as what it once was. And above all, like, I don't really waste time anymore doing videos on, the bad reputations of other channels and stuff like that, and responding to idiots and crap like that. I've just been focusing on just my own well-being, and I'm just focusing on my health, and I'm just doing things that really are more beneficial at the end of the day. And it's the best decision I ever made. And that's been my recovery. That's why I'm really not active on here as much anymore. And, maybe with time, with winter coming up, I might be able to do more videos, but I'm also still going to hit the weights and the sit-ups. Occasionally, I might go to a Planet Fitness and work out there and just kind of, do my own thing there. But this has been my recovery. Like, this has been something that I think has been a major victory, and this has been something I recommend to all of you. If you're looking for like any like weightlifting advice or supplemental advice or anything like that, feel free to tell me in the comments section of the video. And trust me, guys, when you get away from the internet and get away from the fast food and you start doing stuff like this and you start working out, and it's going to be a victory in the long run. And you're going to say, why did I not do that sooner? And that was really racing through my head when I started this. And I'm going to keep at it. And it's the best decision I ever made. And I'm a better person because I started doing all this. So, yeah, that's been my story, guys. And I hope you guys will, ask for advice. you need any advice on supplements and weights and stuff, I'd be happy to help and tell you what I can. This has been my video, guys. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you later.